Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the ACWICT Lead Series, a home for productive, impactful conversations around ICT for development, pivoting on improved livelihoods, education, advocacy, and socioeconomic development. I'll be your host today. My name is Grace, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host,
Thomas Ayuaki.
And thank you very much, Tom, for making the time. And today we have a wonderful discussion ahead, a great team still that's going to lead the discussion. As we know, we are about to celebrate the International Girls' Day in ICT later this week. But for us here at the organization, it's an entire week celebration. And we believe it's very, very key to come together on this wonderful day to be able to create awareness on the need for more girls and women in the ICT sector, whether STEM, whether it's tech-enabled roles. But we need to create that awareness that the space is there. It's up for our taking. And this is why we're here today, to be able to dive more into that. And I think all of us here can agree that tech is continuing to play a significant role in socioeconomic landscape. I mean, whether it's the business sector, whether it's health, whether it's agriculture, the digital space is widening. It's a very wonderful venture for each and every one of us to get into. And I believe, based on research, Tom, if I'm not wrong, I think about 30%, 50 actually,
50%.
Of the job market space by 2030 will be dictated by STEM competencies or skills. So we know that it's important. We know that there's a need. We have to catch up to it before it catches up to us at the end of the day. And here at ACWICT, we believe that we're at a unique space to be able to speak on this. We encourage, we champion, we train young women, about 25,000 young women annually in digital skilling, whether it's through basic training, intermediate, advanced, in the STEM careers, like I've mentioned, whether tech roles or tech-enabled roles, but we are forefront in this particular agenda and initiative. And because of that, we believe that we're in such a unique space to be able to speak on this. We have wonderful beneficiaries who participate in our training. They get the skills, we mentor, we carry them throughout this entire journey, supporting the entrepreneurial journey activities. We support even as they try to, build something, make something of their own. If I can say it in slang, just create a cake instead of cutting the slice on their own. Can they bake the entire cake on their own?
That's true.
That's one of the things that we believe is very, very key here at the organization. But we also have to keep in mind that as we're making such great strides, there's still a challenge with us. The challenge still remains: how can we as a society continue to encourage young women and girls to walk into this space? How can we advocate for gender inclusivity in the tech space, in the STEM spaces? And this is what we're here for this entire week and for this commemoration of this specific day. We want to be able to speak on it. We want to be able to shed a light on it and encourage any one of you listening right now that it's just one step away from you. It's just at your reach. All you have to do is wake up and grab it. And we're joined by a wonderful beneficiary that we had within ACWICT, and she'll take a moment to introduce herself to us.
Hi, I'm Gladys Wangari and a beneficiary of ACWICT's ICT program.
And thank you very much, Gladys, for joining us here today. And I just want to go to the thick of it, Tom. The discussion is ripe. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
I just want to get into it. We have a theme for this entire day, which is the digital skills for life. But if I can take a step further and be a bit more detailed, we want to encourage gender inclusivity in the STEM space. So Gladys, with this theme in mind, do you believe it resonates with you? And if so, why then do you think it's so important for us to sit here, or any other person celebrating this wonderful day, to sit and shed a light on this specific objective?
Well, it resonates with me because there's a deliberate attempt to bridge the gap, the ICT gap, and the gender disparity that is there in ICT-related courses, and mentoring these young women and girls, encouraging them basically to take up these courses and not to be so afraid of. ICT seems like a genius.
Yeah.
It's for the genius, but because I'm a beneficiary, I know right now that you can start from the basics and advance. So I'm happy that there's this outreach to bring in the women and bridge the gap, and also give them mentors, and also show them the opportunities that are there.
And I think what she's mentioned is very key, that demystification, that IT is this big monster, that you have to be, really, really smart. You have to have math, physics, all of these guns already in your armor to be able to pursue the space. But what you've mentioned is very important for all of us to understand, that this is something that everyone can tap into, regardless of where you're tapping it from. You can tap it from the point of education, you can tap it from a point of integration, you can tap into tech from any single point. I think that's very key, that you've just informed us here today, Gladys.
Yeah. Okay. So I wanted us to start with highlighting your journey. I think, as Grace has shared, when we're talking about tech, and more specifically gender inclusivity, it's important to highlight the different entry points that people can be able to access. So with that in mind, what do you do? Where did you start? And what in particular piqued your interest at those early days?
So currently what I do, I'm a freelancer for Microsoft, Universal Human Relevance Systems, where we train AI on different scenarios. And my journey began during COVID. It was slightly after the COVID lockdown. That's when we received calls telling us there's no longer work, because I was in construction. I was doing construction for a company that was doing geothermal. And when the lockdown came, everybody was at home. There was no work going on. So a call came and we were laid off. And it was a low moment for me. And it was a time I was trying to look for something that I can do to sustain myself. So there's this hub within my home area where we go to access internet. It's government sponsored. So I would be there every morning, surfing the internet, looking for something that I can do online. And it's at that time when I came across this digital freelancing program that was being offered by ACWICT. And also at that time, there was also a program by the government called Ajira Digital Program. Yeah. So I joined in with the hope of getting the skills so that I can be able to, be able to look for work with the right kind of skills. And that's how I started. So I went through the program, and after that, I was able to get bits of work. And from there, that is how I've been sustaining myself. So it has been a fruitful journey. And honestly, I can't look back.
Yeah.
There's no looking back for me.
So you mentioned that currently you're in the AI space.
Yes.
So how did you get there? That's a very interesting space for some of us trying to understand it.
I got fronted for an opportunity that was presented by Microsoft, by a mentor. So I went ahead and did my applications, got an interview, and I got hired. And that is how I have been in AI since last year, August, till now.
What's the most exciting thing about this AI, in your own opinion?
The most exciting thing about AI is that, especially in my field, we get new tasks on a daily. So it has been a learning journey, a learning curve. Every day you're teaching AI maybe to recognize voice. So it has been a journey of learning. Since I don't have an IT background, but now I'm into IT and I'm seeing all these things that I'm doing with IT, and being part of the AI development and revolution, it's exciting for me.
That's great. And congratulations to you.
Thank you.
The journey, the curve that you've taken into AI and machine learning is really amazing. And looking at that journey, reflecting on that journey, could you, take a moment to talk to us and dive into some of the challenges that you faced, and how then those challenges were able to shape your outlook on this new tech career, this new space that you've just ventured into?
Okay. So now there's still this challenge of keeping up with tech, because now it revolves so fast. Mm-hmm. You wake up in the morning, there's ChatGPT. You wake up in the morning, there's all these things happening. So there's that challenge that I'm still facing, trying to keep up. So with IT, you constantly have to keep reading far and wide, seeking out mentors, seeking out employment opportunities, seeking out, sometimes even volunteer, because now you have to get these skills even without pay, for you to be able to get the experience, for you to be able to get to seek employment opportunities with a bigger income. Yeah.
I think it's what, Tom, you like to say, putting in that 10,000 hours.
Yeah.
I think that's very key.
Yeah, and I think a lot can be said about that. I like the fact that for you, and I think it's important for everybody listening to this to capture moving forward. You know, you are not satisfied with the training that was provided, not because the quality was not there, but because you felt that it needed to reflect the market a little bit more. So if there's something I think that's very important for us to learn moving forward, is that hunger is something that you consistently have to have for you to be able to succeed. So I wanted to focus on one thing that you said, and maybe just ask a simple question before we go into the more complex ones. What value do you place on the mentorship that you received? Do you think it's an important tool for young women and girls looking to pursue careers within that space?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mentors are so key, because without these mentors, I would not be where I am. Was because of these mentors that they pushed me toward the right direction. They're still giving me, I still go to them when I have an issue. They still give me a piece of information that they have gathered from out there that I didn't know of. So the place of mentors to girls and women, it's invaluable.
So with that being said, what do you believe are some of the challenges that cut across when you're looking at it from the point of view of gender, age, and all the other precursors? What are some of the challenges that you believe cut across, and what would you tell a young girl looking to pursue a career in AI, based on your own experience?
Awareness, mostly, I would say. Because you see, like for me, I wouldn't have known if I wasn't going to surf the internet at the hub. So awareness is really key for that is cutting across the gender divide.
Yeah.
There's all these social media, but what is really necessary, like learning skills, is not being put out there in the social media. So there's need for like targeted awareness to women and girls for them to be able to come and acquire these skills.
So not to challenge you or anything, but there's always the question of where does the responsibility lie? You, as a young person growing into that space, you had to go out of your way to ensure that you stayed knowledgeable on some of the trending aspects of technology. But in your capacity now, do you think you need to maybe do more to create awareness to the next lady, to the next gentleman looking to pursue a career in that space? Or, as you've said earlier, do you think it's something that they need to also put in time so that you're meeting in the middle? Because there's always that question of, I'm doing this, but I can't be able to access that next level. But when you ask them, are you networking? Are you moving around? Are you surfing in the internet for new opportunities? They tell you that they're not. So what are your thoughts? Do you need to meet in the middle? Or do you think that, there's one aspect or one rule which you're serving now that has to go back and reach out to those young people and get them to where they need to be?
I think it goes both ways. Word of mouth also, it really penetrates word of mouth. But there's also the need, you see, like the way there are advertisements, say for products.
Yeah.
I think these things need to be on air. They need to be showcased on watershed hours.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also need, you see, like I wouldn't say people are not putting in effort, but there's a point you get when you're at home and you don't know what to do.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you're sitting at home and you're depressed, not knowing what to do. Mm-hmm. So in as much as we are trying to put in word by word of mouth, I think TV, social media, it will do great to let people know that there is a space that they can go learn something.
Yeah.
That they can also they can utilize to get skills that they can acquire, so that they can also seek jobs, freelance.
Yeah. And I know we can't get into all of it because a lot of it requires an attitude change. But I think the one thing that you've mentioned continuously through this process is just that need to know, that need to always, try and explore and find out new things about what it is you're pursuing. So I think, audience, if there's one thing that you'd learn from that, is just making sure, more than anything, you're networking, you're looking for these things. I think we can all agree that this generation is very, very lucky. Most of this information, most of this knowledge is on our phones, is on our laptops and our tablets. And so it's just about an attitude change. How am I using the internet, as you said? If I'm on social media, am I looking for, the more controversial aspects of it, or am I using it to actually seek opportunities? Yeah.
And thank you very much, Tom, and also Gladys, for bringing that out. It's very, very key. But Gladys, now you're here. You've walked this journey. You've actually crawled, you've walked, you've run. Now you're sprinting into the journey. What advice do you think you can give to a girl right now who doesn't know how to crawl, doesn't know where to start? What advice would you give?
The advice I would give to a girl, or the kind of advice I would give myself, is don't get stuck in your career path. You can diversify and look for something else that will equip you with the skill to survive. Because now, since COVID, the rate of unemployment is high.
Yeah.
But then again, there are people who are reaping big in the online space. So that is the kind of advice I would give anybody. Don't be limited by your career path. Yeah, expand. There's a lot in the horizon that you can go and seek and do and be able to survive. Yeah.
And I think even for audience and Tom, this route is a route that ACWICT is trying to pivot itself on, that integration. You can integrate tech, you can diversify, you can expand. I can be a lawyer, but do I have something? Can I add tech into law? Can I add law into tech? Can I move it around and figure out how to freelance it? So that holistic look of tech as a way of just uplifting what you already have, gaining new skills, upskilling, capacity building, using it to add Royco to your soup, to your meat, if I can say it in layman's terms. And in commemoration of this wonderful day, Gladys, I'd just like to hear your opinion, your honest opinion on where do you think the society is right now at this point in regards to inclusivity in the digital space?
I feel like we're still lagging behind, especially when it comes to inclusion of women and girls in the IT space. Because now there's this stereotype that is there, where we all think that IT is for men. And then we think like women are supposed to be in hospitality or maybe like nursing courses. So it is a high time that we start now to incorporate women into IT, and also break these systemic barriers where women, when you have the IT skills and you go for an interview in a company, and you're there as a female and there's a male, they'll prefer to pick the male over the female. So I think in this century, I think companies, and there's need to break these systemic barriers that have been there, limiting women to pursue these careers and be able to succeed in them. Yes.
And I think the call to action there is the most important that I've had. The need to break these systemic barriers, whether Tommy mentioned about where the responsibility lies, whether it's through us as organizations, whether it's through education systems, whether it's through our parenthood, our parents at home, the interaction we have with our communities, our siblings, our friends. They are internalized barriers that we all have, whether we know it or not, consciously or unconsciously. that are affecting the inclusivity of women in this specific space, that are holding the women back. And that's very, very key for us. And even for the audience back at home, take a look back, take a moment to think, is there in any way that you're feeding into this barrier? Is there a way that then you can break it? Is there a way that you can create a better system for all our young girls and women to be able to thrive in this specific space? And finally, Gladys, your journey has been amazing. I'll say it one more time. It's been great. You've been climbing. You're continuing to climb. You've talked about such a pivot from before COVID into the COVID period, a pivot into freelancing, another pivot into AI. And there's still much more for you to be able to grab. And so what do you think? What do you believe is next for you in this journey into the tech space? And do you have any goals, whether short-term, long-term, that you're looking to achieve as you continue?
So for me, short-term, I'll keep in line with whatever I'm doing with AI. And in the future, I'm hoping to my name to be recognized as a partner or maybe a pioneer of such groundbreaking technologies such as ChatGPT, Yes.
So given the opportunity now with what you've achieved, if I was to tell you that there are opportunities in the previous job titles you have, just, in a light sense, would you consider going back, or do you think that you've transitioned into tech and that's the future?
The future is tech. There's no going back. Yes.
Oh my God! But it's still online, but it's really, really good to see that as you walk into the space as a woman, that means when Gladys is saying there's no going back, it doesn't mean that the previous was bad. It doesn't mean where she was bad. It just means what I have now is something that I can make something much greater out of myself. I can create, I can impact
and
different
diversify
lives.
at the same time.
She can diversify. So tech is a world of opportunities. Tech is a world of innovations. Tech is a world where Gladys will wake up today and tomorrow she has the ChatGPT that she woke up and found. And I think that's a great feeling to have. Something you should know even as you walk into the space. There'll always be space to grow. There's always be an opportunity for you to grab, to continue to build, to innovate, to create. And I think that's wonderful, Gladys. I can't believe that you're here. It's been a long time coming. I choose to assume there's a longer time to go, but now we know that it's not going to be that difficult. It's not going to be that stressful. It's going to be a point of learning, like you've mentioned. It's going to be a point of innovating, growing, capacity building. And that's really what we're trying to achieve here today, audience, just to make sure that we create awareness of this wonderful space, this wonderful venture where women are walking into it. And as you can see, are thriving, very, very, very highly thriving, walking into different spaces. And I really can't wait to see you achieving all of those goals. I hope the mentors that you had, the trainers that you had here at ACWICT will be somewhere close to you to see you achieve all of these goals. I don't know, Tom, maybe you have a parting shot of Gladys.
And I think for me, it's just to, again, thank you for your time. As a man, I've learned that there are certain small but very significant things that need to be done, even in my position in the organization. And I think if there was one thing that has resonated with me, it's just the importance of destroying all of these structures that are there to bring the slightest sense of self-doubt. I think that's the thing that I've captured here, because again, not to try and compare struggles here, but I can just imagine going into a space and almost self-doubting yourself in every single corner. It's not a pleasant thing to go through, and especially if you are self-doubting on something that, to be honest, the amount of control you have is close to non-existent. So I think that's something that has stood out with me. And again, listenership, across the gender divide, if there's anything we can be able to do to break those barriers for young ladies, while at the same time capacity build and mentor each other to be able to build the world that we want, I think that's something that we should take on.
And it means a lot, Tom, coming from, in a light note, coming from you as a man, that you see this gap, you want us to walk into the space, you want us to thrive in the space as well. I think that's a call to action to all the men that are also out there listening right now. Be on the same space as Tom, encourage your young sisters, friends to join the space. Thank you very much, Gladys. It's been a wonderful engagement, wonderful experience. We wish you nothing but the best in this journey as you continue. Thank you very much, Tom. And thank you very much. I hope to see you in the next episode.